Howdy folks, I'm noisy northern oak hairstreak, needlessly nagging no-nonsense newts.
I'm Amber.
And here are more no-nonsense newts for us to nag on, but it turns out that they were just Reddit stories. So let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Letting My Partner Come on Vacation for Me? I'm a 30-year-old female, and I've had this vacation planned out since I was in middle school. It centers around a movie/book series that I'm in love with and a massive fan of. I have a vacation booked to see the filming locations, and I'm staying in some of the filming locations, and I have a strict itinerary. This has been a dream of mine forever, and I'm unwilling to compromise on a single instance of it. It sounds ridiculous, but I've had a rough home life, and this series was my escape. So now I have adult money, and I will see this to fruition. My partner, a 30-year-old male, wants to come along and is willing to pay for anything that he also wants to do. I love him, and he's great, and I would be happy for him to come along. However, he does not like the series, and it wouldn't be fun for him. And he wants to add some national parks and other things to the trip. But that would mess up my time-sensitive itinerary since it's planned for every day exactly. I told him that if he comes along, everything that he wants to do is on his own time, as my itinerary is what I'm sticking to exactly. I have this week planned out to the minute and will regret if I miss a single thing. He's upset because he feels this defeats the point of him coming along. He wants to spend time with me, and he's worried about me flying solo as a woman across the country. He wants to be there in case the rental car breaks down or something happens to him, or something happens, so that I'm not anxious and alone trying to solve a problem. I get those concerns, I think that they're valid, and I do have some anxiety. And his desire to support me is very sweet. There would be a 4-hour time distance between us if something were to happen, which is another concern of his. He feels that I'm being very concrete on this and is frustrated by my lack of willingness to budge on it. I told him that it's no different than if he wanted to go to New Zealand to see the Lord of the Rings stuff, and I tried to plan other non-Lord of the Ring things on those days when he was wanting to visit Hobbitville or whatever the Shire is called. I told him that if he wants to come along, he can either do his own thing, follow my itinerary, or just not come at all. I told him, honestly, I just want to go alone. I want to go on this trip because I want to be with someone who I know will appreciate it as much as I will, which is me. Now he's upset because he feels like I'm not seeing the big picture and don't want to spend time together. Update 7:31. Well, I talked over with a boyfriend and we're not breaking up. I told him some of my concerns and asked what was really bothering him. He said that he was partially concerned about my safety, but it was mostly his anxiety and him getting into his own head, worrying that if I had a car accident or something ridiculous happen, he wouldn't know if I was okay. He had a traumatic childhood and lost a family member in a drunk driving incident. They were also the victim, so it was understandable. They were the victim, so it's understandable. The other part of this is that he doesn't get as much PTO as me, and he's burnt out, and he works at the VA and doesn't feel that he gets a lot of time with me where he's not stressed about something. So he's not going on the trip, but asked if I could give him a general itinerary just to stay in contact and make sure I have AAA info on hand in case of an emergency. And that chilled him out. We're also going to plan a getaway around Christmas, since we're both off, where we just get to vibe with each other. His only request is that I take loads of pics, and I try to get him a sticker of that bedazzled egg with Edward's face that says, "Tit soak," because he finds it hilarious. I said, deal. You got it, baby girl, and now we're good. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think OP is a jerk for wanting to have a solo trip planned around a very specific activity or set of activities. I'm glad they were able to get to the root of his anxieties and find a way that he can be okay with OP going on this trip and also find a way to spend time together. But I think it is important for people, even when they're in relationships, to be able to do the things that they enjoy and to not have to change all their plans just to appease their partner.
Yeah, well, it would be one thing if he just came along and did everything that she wanted to do and didn't complain about it and actually tried to enjoy himself. But given that he wants to go and change the plans and change the itinerary, that's just not fair to OP, right?
Right.
Like OP had this all planned out and wanted to do very specific things. but he isn't willing to, he's like, oh well, you're not willing to do any of these changes, and is like, yeah, of course she's not.
Right.
She's made that very clear.
This is the plan she's had since before you were in the picture, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it would be different if they had just been planning this trip for years or something like that together, and she was just completely unwilling to, compromise on anything at that point in time. But, this is a very long, planned out trip that she wants to do on her own, and I don't think that she should be forced to do it with somebody who's not going to enjoy it. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk If I Tell My Husband That I Don't Want to Have Any Relationship Nor Help Him Care for the Child That He Fathered with His Lover? I still can't believe that this is happening to me, and I'm just so lost and so tired right now. I never expected for my husband to do this to me after everything that we have. English is not my first language, and I'm still in shock, so please forgive me if there's something that I miss in my post. I'm just venting, and I feel so broken. I've never used Reddit for things like this, and just watch stories from the internet. Some background, I'm a 44-year-old female, and my husband, a 45-year-old male, has been married for 2 decades, and we have 4 kids together. Shane, a 23-year-old female, Bay, a 22-year-old female, Charles, a 17-year-old male, and Ivan, a 13-year-old male. All of our kids are adopted since I cannot carry a child to term, but I treat all of my kids as if I birthed them myself. Me and my husband have a wonderful relationship, and we are high school sweethearts. We dated in high school and got married when we were in college. We rarely fight because we always address the issue that we have and always tried our best to fight for our relationship. We have our date nights, and our kids cringe every time me and their dad are together because of how sticky we are and affectionate. We both have good jobs as well. I work in a high position at a call center while my husband works in tech. We both earn good amounts of money for us to provide a comfortable life for our children. And we have great intimacy. We are each other's first in everything, so imagine my shock when my husband told me this morning that he had a one-night stand with a coworker 9 years ago and it resulted with a boy. My husband told me that it happened when I was away on a trip with my girlfriends, and he was feeling lonely and stressed for a project at that time, but he didn't want to bother me while I was out having fun because I rarely go out with my friends. And he said that he didn't mean for it to happen and never happened again, but I don't know if I believe him. According to him, after they did it, he and his affair partner spoke about how much of a mistake of what they did was, and that it shouldn't happen again, since they never spoke to each other than at work, aside from when they have projects together. And the affair partner ended up leaving the company after 2 months, so they never saw each other again. Now, just this morning, my husband told me that his affair partner's parents contacted him a month ago and told him that she became pregnant after they slept together and gave birth to a son. They said that they can no longer care for the boy since they're old, and the affair partner is in jail for the foreseeable future. They wanted to still have the kid with them, but they won't be able to provide a good life for the child, so they wanted my husband to take in the child. Well, I just became numb the entire time that he's explaining this to me. He told me that his plan is to turn one of their guest rooms into the boy's room, and wanted to introduce him to our kids as their new brother. Said that I would love the kid because the boy likes anime and we would definitely get along. My husband is completely ecstatic because he said that the boy looks so much like him and he's such a good kid, that the boy would be grateful to have a normal life and have parents that would love him, which is, from what I think he's saying, me and him being the parents. I don't know what to do. I know that the boy is completely innocent and didn't choose his parents, but the fact that he knew about this child for a month and hid it from me, and the fact that the boy is blood related, which is something that I can never give him, makes me feel horrible and making me feel a bit resentful for the child's existence. I'm currently locking myself in the bedroom, and he's been trying to get me to open the door, but I just wanted to cry myself here. I don't want to care for the child, and I don't want to see the results of my husband's infidelity, but I also pity the boy, so am I the jerk. Edit, he already got a paternity test, and the boy is his. This is one of the questions that I asked him early because I'm still hoping that the boy wasn't actually his and was just being scammed, and maybe we can move past this, but he already confirmed that the boy is his son. Alright folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. Your husband is putting you in a terrible position. OP, you are not in the wrong for not wanting to raise this child. Of course, the kid is innocent in the circumstances of his birth, but that doesn't mean you have to be the one to take on this responsibility. And if you already are feeling, like you're going to see the child as a reminder of your husband's infidelity, it's best not to have a role in the kid's life because the kid isn't responsible for that. You don't owe the kid anything, but you also shouldn't, if you can't treat the kid without seeing that, you definitely should not be a parental figure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that OP needs to take care of their own mental health. They're processing a lot of things all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And, the husband has had 9 years to process the affair, and OP has had a single day. And to make things worse, not only did he have an affair, he hid the affair. He never came forward and talked to OP about it,
Yep.
right? Because, he could have, in those 9 years, confronted her and said, look, I'm really sorry. I made a horrible mistake, and, I had an affair, right? Because then at least she would have had time to process that and decide whether she wanted to stay with him, right? But now there's this extra layer of guilt about this child who now needs a parent and all those kinds of other things, right? And it's the way that he approached this was extraordinarily insensitive too, being all excited and stuff. Well, you're gonna love this kid type of thing, right?
Yeah, well, he's already made up OP's mind for her.
Mm-hmm.
OP has no say in this, and this is not a partnership. He is steamrolling OP, so he gets to live out his fantasy of having a biological child.
Mm-hmm. And I feel so bad for the kid, and I feel bad for OP. I don't feel bad for the husband. And I think that OP needs to decide whether they want to stay in this relationship. And if they don't want to stay in this relationship, that's a perfectly legitimate thing to move on. This was a huge breach of trust.
Mm-hmm.
And he, claims that he's been faithful ever since. But we only have his word.
Right.
And we know that he lied for 9 years. Lied by omission, right?
Yep.
So what good is, his word at this point in time when we have no idea if he's actually now telling the truth or, is actually hiding more affairs, right? What happens if he has more kids floating around out there? How many more kids are they going to take in, And I think that OP has a lot to think about and a lot to talk about, and if they want to salvage anything in this relationship, then they probably need to go into couples therapy to actually work through some real problems, but they do not have to be a mother to this child.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for sure the one thing that I can draw from this.
Right. I mean, it's probably best to get out of the situation if OP can, because I have a feeling it seems like the husband is ready to just push OP into mom role. It seems like if OP stays with him in his household, he's bringing the kid no matter what, which is not how you handle things when you're in a partnership, but that seems like how he's handling things. He's going to try and force OP into this role, and that's not going to be good for her, and it might not also be good for the kid, and so, yeah.
Yeah, really not great. Really, really not great. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And ThrowBlanket04 says, he told you about the child this morning and got a paternity test and the results in a few hours? This seems fake. And OP replies, no, he didn't get the results immediately. The paternity test happened 2 weeks ago when he first met up with the kid and the grandparents. My husband is a cheater and a liar, but not dumb. He's aware about scams, so he got a paternity test before trying to bond with the child. The thing is, OP mentions that he's known about this for a month. The person's like, he got it in a few hours. No, he's known about this for a month. What do you think he's been doing over the last month hiding this from OP? I mean, of course the first thing he did was go and get a paternity test because he was trying to save his marriage or, hide this from OP, but he couldn't hide it any longer, right? And Full Pace 7666 says, no child should be in a home where any potential guardian does not want them. And OP replies, I know, but I don't know what to say. I can't stop crying since this morning because I truly loved him, and we've had such a wonderful marriage. He knew my stance on cheating, and I just can't understand why he did this. We both love kids. We are financially capable of having many kids, and he knew that I wanted another kid. So he's been saying earlier that this is the new kid that I wanted as long as I open my heart to this boy. How manipulative do you need to be?
Right, like that's why I don't think that if he's this manipulative already, like probably couples counseling is off the table because he's just gonna find some way to twist everything. I mean, he's already doing a great job painting himself as, oh, well, it was a horrible accident, but I've got to step up for this kid, and the kid needs a mom too.
And again, like I said, if he was really remorseful about this, then he should have come forward and said something years ago about the affair.
Mm-hmm.
And Direct Antique says, where's the affair partner's family? Why would this kid want to move in with strangers? You only thought you had a great marriage. His excuse for sleeping with another woman is dumb. And Opie replies, the boy's grandparents are old and cannot support the boy's needs financially. I don't know about the other family members, but I'll try to ask my husband once I'm calmer, since he's been in contact with the affair partner's family for a month, so he should know more information. I know, and I just feel so bad and sad about all of it. I mean, what a miserable situation. I feel so bad for OP.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Ever since I told my postpartum wife that she looks even better now, she's been obsessed with me. Lol. So my wife gave birth not too long ago, and one day I just told her that I actually find her body sexier now. I wasn't trying to hype her up or anything, I just meant it. She's curvier and looks more feminine, and honestly, I'm super into it. Ever since I've said that, she's been acting totally different in the best way. She's constantly hugging me, cuddling up to me, and being flirty, and kissing me all the time. Like random kisses on the cheek, the neck, and just walking up and smooching me for no reason. It's just kind of adorable, I'm not gonna lie. I'm loving it. She's even asked me a few times if I really meant what I said, and I tell her every time, yes. And she just lights up. It's like she's falling in love with me all over again. We're both tired with the baby and everything, but somehow we're more connected than ever. I didn't expect a comment about how sexy I still find her to have this kind of impact, but yeah, I'll take it. All right, folks, what do you think?
That's good. I'm glad that OP and his wife have such a good relationship and that, you know, he's been able to build her up. Unfortunately, we hear so many stories about partners tearing their other partner down after childbirth. And so I mean, this should be kind of the norm, but it's really good to see someone who's actually living up to that and supporting their partner.
Yeah, well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And that's really what's important. In our society, there tends to be one type of beauty. And I think that's unfortunate because there's a bit of beauty in everyone. And I think that it's sad that we treat, one type of body as beautiful when there are a lot of other types of beauty. And I think that it's wonderful that OP loves his wife and loves how she looks and is able to give her confidence and make her feel secure in her body, right? I mean, that's the best that anyone can hope for out of a partner, right? It's not to have a partner who, tears you down and is like, why do you have 10 extra pounds on you or something like that, right? Like it's sad. It's really sad that when you have partners that refuse to, who tear you down, you know? So I'm really happy that OP and their partner have each other. I think that is very sweet. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she has a joke.
What might you call a clairvoyant superhero assistant?
A clairvoyant superhero assistant? Well, I can tell you exactly what you would call a clairvoyant superhero assistant because I was once a clairvoyant superhero assistant. And they called me Brian. No, they actually called me you weird guy who can tell the future. Why don't you come on over here and tell us the future some more? And so I would go over and I would tell them the future and they'd be like, ha ha ha, thanks, weird guy who tells us the future. And I was like, you're welcome anytime. I'm happy to tell you the future. And I don't know why, but I got, after a certain amount of time, they just stopped calling me over to be part of the superhero league. And so I think I just retired and I think I did my duty and stuff like that. And yeah.
A psychic sidekick.
Like me. I was a psychic sidekick.
And it's Psychic Day and National Friendship Day.
Oh, just like I was friends with the superheroes. Go find yourself a friend, preferably a national friend, and be friends with them. I don't know.
Befriend a psychic.
And befriend a psychic. That's the best kind of friend, a psychic friend. And I have Earl Grey. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy special Sunday, folks, and you know what makes it special, and you do. Amber does too, and the people in the last story, they are all very special.
And Brian does too.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it a little wholesome.
Build your partner up.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.